What's something in your house that no one uses, but is just there? A drawer full of random screws, bolts, and nails left by the previous owner. I refuse to get rid of them in case I need them someday. Fondue pot. I mentioned to my dad, offhand, that my kitchen was so full of useless things that I was only missing a fondue pot. He misunderstood what I and bought me one next time we went to a yard sale. My family has one that is literally only used once a year on Christmas Eve. It's my grandma's and I think she's had it since the 50s at least. I have a nice stone chess set that doesn't get used because I live alone. Play against yourself. Make a move when you leave in the morning for white and one for black when you get back. A whole extra dining room table and chairs. My mom has one in the dining area and one in the kitchen. She said the one in the dining room is for aesthetic purposes only. She's from the old school. It's for company to use, not the family. Box of cables you just know you will need someday, but by the time you need them you forget you have them. Every time I say screw it and throw a cable away I need it the next day. Calendar on the wall. Every couple months it's, oh, we need to change the calendar, hahaha. Forgets for a couple more months. I still have a whiteboard calendar depicting October 2015, a true showpiece in any home. The bread maker. It seemed like a good idea at the time. 0 loaves of bread baked in the past 3 years. Still on the counter. Till that's its time I dust that bad boy off and put it to work. You all had me at beer bread. Use it to make dough instead. I love my bread machine but it gets mostly used to make pizza and pretzel dough. I'd be interested to hear what recipes you guys use for your pizza dough. I find the one that came with my machine's book is kind of bland. So if you got a very tasty, fluffy crust recipe, PM me with it. Banana bunch hanger. Old cast iron sewing machine next to the equally unused stand-up piano. Cast iron sewing machines. Nobody ever uses them, but for some reason, people really like having them for decoration. A friend of mine is moving and just sold hers. I couldn't believe someone actually wanted it. My parents have a giant wooden giraffe in the corner of their dining room. I have no idea why. My mom installed a giant fake elephant bust in the entrance room of her house. Kind of like those taxidermy deer heads but an elephant. It's horrific. I have no idea what she was thinking. I have a 6-person hot tub on my back patio. I had always wanted one, and when we built out the patio, I made sure I set aside the money for it. It literally gets used twice per year. It's an absolute hog on electricity costs, and the constant maintenance of it is a complete pain in the butt. Worst thing I ever bought. I swear, every person who owns a hot tub says don't own a hot tub. I have a kitchen drawer full of stuff I've never touched. Melon baller, pie crust crimper muffin pans. It's like you buy your first home and people think you've transformed into Martha Stewart. I wound up using my muffin pan for pouring molten aluminum into to make small ingots. There's a chair at the table that no one ever sits in. IDKY, but apparently it must radiate cursed energy or something. There's a ghost sitting in it. I used to be a hoarder, so if you asked me 2 years ago my honest answer would be everything other than my PC. If you ask me next year, I hope the answer will be nothing. But my answer today is my collection of DVDs. Speaking of which, anyone want a cringy collection of indie movies and anime circa 2003-ish? I'll take the anime if you're being serious. Oh. One of those giant big screen TVs from like 20 years ago that take up an entire wall because no one in my family wants to bother with figuring out how to get it out of the house because it is massive. And on the 2nd floor and we don't even have a car big enough to take it to the disposal center. Now that I think about it, I don't even know how it got upstairs in the first place. Fire extinguisher. And I would prefer it to stay with no cause to use it. Thank you very much. Make sure to check the dates on those every once in a while. They don't last forever. I own the 2 seats my wife and I sat in at our first concert. They were ripping the seats out of the arena and I was able to buy those too. I really like them. I'm happy I got them. But they are absolutely useless and sit in the basement storage. One day I'll fix them up and mount them to something so they can actually be used as seats. One day I'll build an airplane from scratch using only items I find in the garage. The same sock has been on the towel rack for about 4 years now. It also glows in the dark. Tons of kitchen gadgets. My mill buys stuff and hand-me-down stuff all the time. I don't have the heart to tell her no, especially since she's going through such a hard time right now. Instead, I graciously accept them and add them to my running low on space pantry. A box containing 3 plastic PC monitor stands. Apparently it was $5 total, but the house space is worth more than $5 to me. Imagine being able to pay $5 to add 10 square feet to your home. Nice, then I could buy more PC monitor stands. A TV behind my TV in my living room that broke. My mom threw a can and it banged off the floor and hit the TV and the LCD bled all over and blackened it out. Now whenever we turn it on now there's a deafening screech. Then it starts to smoke a bit. But it's installed into a TV stand table cabinet 3-in-1 so we can't move it, so we just got a new one and put it in front of it. I used scuba suit in my attic that my husband will not let go. Never been scuba diving, never expressed any interest in going. He's definitely going to use it one day and I'll be sorry I kept bugging him to ditch it. My parents used to scuba dive but quit when I was 3. My dad refuses to get rid of any of their equipment just in case. My mom and I opened the bags last year and the suit is completely disintegrated. Their fins broke apart like cheap plastic. And the straps are rotted. He still won't let them go because they were expensive. I feel your pain. A million-year-old piece of wood. It's just a rock the size of a basketball, sitting there on a shelf. Bagpipes, bodhruns, and a didgeridoo, all of which I never bothered to learn to play. They make interesting conversational pieces though. So it's a didgeridoo then. Telephone. No one has used the home phone in 4 years but my wife won't let me cancel it in case of some emergency. My guitar stuff. Toddlers break guitars, and my tube amp is too loud for the apartment we live in. I lived in apartments for 6 years. Maybe played with an amp 10 times in those 6 years. Day 1 of owning a home I pulled out my amp and cranked it. I feel your pain. I had to put away the nice guitars and just have a beta Strat out because of toddlers. The dining room table. The condoms. Hey, better than me. I don't even buy them anymore, there's so little chance they're getting used. Laundry basket. Apparently that's what the floor is for. We have 2 laundry baskets, a big one and a small one. The bigger one has a use though, it holds the smaller one. Doors. Nobody freaking knocks, everyone just barges in. A lounge chair that is basically there only for my dog to play on it. That's all. Then it has a perfect and needed use. KitchenAid. Purchased it for making pastas and bread but hand kneading is so relaxing that I've switched to that method even though it takes a bit longer. I've always wanted a KitchenAid, it's like my if I won the lottery the first thing it buys a item. Although maybe it's best I don't have one, it just end up making a lot of cakes. We have a 2-story house. In 2 of the upstairs bedrooms, one at each end of the hall, we have emergency fire escape ladders. I honestly hope we never have to use them, but they are there. I honestly hope we never have to use them, but they are there. That can be said for all emergency equipment, but if it's needed, it's really needed. So, good on ya. My cat. She's so useless. Doesn't pay her share of the rent, and never brings home chicken wings. No one has any use for her, yet there she is, crapping in a box in the closet. Or crap. I live with a borderline hoarder. As such, I am also a borderline hoarder after years of you can keep that in my room so it doesn't get ruined. So there is a bunch. Here are a few just from my room. A goatskin drum I got years ago from an aunt who travels a lot. Only time it has ever been used is by my mom's drunk friend. And another time by a toddler I was watching. An expensive airbrush set I truly plan on learning to use, but have not touched. It is the same one my mom bought over 20 years ago that she truly planned on learning to use, but never touched. Over 2 decades old and in pretty much perfect condition. A sword and a battle axe. Hope I don't ever have to use them, but am prepared to if necessary. I could use them as decoration pieces I guess, but it is more fun when someone sees the hilt sticking out of the corner, asks what it is, and I get to whip it out and say well it is my sword, of course. Like 5 alarm clocks. I just use my phone, and for the rest of the house, a number of vacuums. Only one ever gets used and it's an ancient thing my great grandmother might have used. A weird wooden mallet straight up carved from a tree limb. I'm not entirely sure that it even could have any use but for bonking an intruder on the head if need be. Freaking lamps galore. Very few actually have bulbs. Most are the weird kind of retro that isn't even ironic, and therefore the average person wants nothing to do with it. Hideous in a cool way if you tilt your head. Brass tools. I don't know what happened to all the ones we had that matched. Now we have a bunch that don't, and don't get used because they are either uncomfortable or just feel plain dangerous to try and sit on. There are more. I'm probably just so used to seeing all the balls we don't use or need that I don't even recognize it anymore. Currently moving a bunch of stuff out of my room. Packed up and headed for the trash or attic. Sword and battle axe stay though. Also, found a crossbow I forgot about. You could start slowly tossing stuff or giving what's usable to charity. Just a few things a week. Cut down on the clutter until it's more manageable. Hoarding, even minor, can allow pests like roaches and mice to hide very effectively. You're exposed to diseases, mold, dust, etc. that you really don't need to be. Plus, no one is really comfortable visiting a hoarder's home, are they? It's me. No one uses me and I'm just there. I let my boyfriend convert a spare bedroom into a home gym. He promised he would use the equipment. The weight bench is great for hanging up laundry to dry. Pretty sure I still have a blender in the home. We don't use it. Nerf guns. So many Nerf guns. Bedroom windows are still shuttered from the last hurricane that was I guess a year ago. There is an actual door that doesn't get used. Sealed shut. A ton of dishes from the person who used to live here. Few light switches that don't seem to do anything. My parents have a dining room that they've used maybe 5 times in the 20 years they've lived there. My roommate has this salad spinner that takes up about half a cabinet shelf. I have never seen her eat a salad, let alone make one. The fireplace. It's just taking up wall space, but I can't get rid of it. Too heavy. Semicolon. Fireplaces are all fun and games until it's time to clean them out and you are faced with an ashy black nightmare right next to a white carpet. Toilet paper roll holder. Just prop a new one on top and lean it against the wall. Surely someone else has the engineering skills necessary to actually put it on the roller. Let's play the how many empty toilet paper rolls can we accumulate without throwing them away game. Really impresses the guests. I have 2 living rooms, 2 dining rooms, we only use one, never both. Mr. Moneybags able to throw a decent dinner party here. One for family, one for friends. We have a dining room hutch full of glasses and casserole dishes and serving trays. We keep them in case we entertain guests. We don't have guests, we both hate entertaining. Our dining room is now our computer room plus this ugly hutch. We only have a 4-person table in our eat-in kitchen. And he won't let me throw that stuff out. We have a wall painted in special paint so you can draw with chalk on it. It's usually clean except for when it's someone's birthday in the family. If it was in-house, it would have a cartoon dongs drawn on it in like 5 seconds. My kids are creative. My dog has a bed but he would rather sleep on my bed, the couch, the tiny rug by the front door, my laundry, literally 3 Maya bags that wear on the floor in my room, or the tiny little kid trampoline in the basement. Like this video and this good boy will play you a nice song. Like and subscribe you magnificent person.